Hello, dear friends and compatriots. It is with great pleasure that we welcome you to the public launch of the Fix Politics Initiative. This is a citizens' initiative that focuses on implementing the findings from the research work that I did in Berlin, Germany at the Robert Bosch Academy as a Richard von Weizsäcker Fellow in 2019 up until the first quarter of this year. In my study, I looked at the nexus between the quality of politics of countries and their economic performance. The reason that I interrogated that thought is that looking around me in Nigeria and seeing how the state of the poor really is and how it also multidimensionally affects their perception by those that govern them, leading to challenges in valuing their lives, I really wanted to know what it is about our politics that makes it not value the citizen nor produce good outcomes for them. And so in my research, I was able to interrogate the universal and historical development of politics as a concept, and to realize that politics is at the heart of everything that society can be or will be. The democracy that we see as a system of government all over the world today cannot be complete without politics. The process of politics determines the outcomes in different societies. And one of the primary things that I established in my analysis is that there are actually three critical triangular pillars of democracy. That these triangular pillars of democracy determine the quality of politics and its outcomes. The intent of politics is to enable governance. No wonder that research proves that you cannot have any form of progress in society without good governance. So if you want to have good governance as a society, you have to have good politics. And so to understand whether politics is of a good kind or not of a good kind, I built that model of the triangular pillars of democracy. And the reason that it is triangular is that it is interconnecting networks of actions at every angle of the triangle. They act together to produce a certain outcome, whether it be good or it be not good. At the base of the triangle, left-hand side of it, you have the demand side of governance. And that demand side is made up of the electorate. At the other end of the base of the triangle, you have the supply side of governance. And that supply side of governance is made up of the political class, that is the politicians, and the alternative ideas, and as a matter of fact, the competing ideas they have for supplying governance to the demand side. At the apex of the triangle, you have the regulatory context in which the two angles at the base interact. This regulatory context, in the case of Nigeria, for example, would be the constitution, legislations that are important for politics, especially electoral law and the role of the judiciary, and increasingly the role of the security establishments, and then political parties. In this context of a systemic analysis of the angles that work together to produce outcomes in a political system, you're able to evaluate each country's politics and to determine in a quantitative and qualitative way what kind of outcome it would produce. In evaluating the politics of Nigeria and a number of other countries in Africa, my study established that the quality of the electorate is a problem. The electorate in Nigeria is without influence to determine good political outcomes in the political process. On the other end of the triangle, you've got poor quality of political class without competing ideas and without a culture of service. At the apex, you have institutions that regulate without competency, without fairness, and without adherence to the rule of law. And therefore, they lack independence of action. So in the pyramid of politics, as laid out in that triangle, you find that the space of political activity is completely monopolized by the supply side of the triangle, that is the political class and the politicians. This distorts the kind of results that can be accomplished by government. The distortion is what leads to the poor economic performance because policies are not sound, institutions are not developed, and priorities of investment necessary for growth are distorted. The deformity of the political process, therefore, stagnates not just individuals, but families, communities, the economy, businesses, and government itself. Therefore, if there's any opportunity possible for changing the status quo, the analysis says that it can only come from the demand side of governance, that is the electorate, because they are the only angle in the triangle with an incentive and the level of commitment to effect the change necessary for correcting the system that is broken. The reason is simple. The supply side, being the politicians, have no incentive to change a system that is absolutely rewarding of bad behavior, has no consequence, and the result is profitable. And so they would not be the ones effecting any change to the system. The regulatory context, even if it cared to effect any change, is undermined by the overwhelming power of the supply side of governance. And so what you end up with is a monopolistic democracy where the supply side has monopolized the political space, and the outcomes have now been designed in the way that there is a dominant political culture by the political class in societies with broken political systems like Nigeria. What we must do, therefore, is to acknowledge the evidence as provided by such an analysis and to understand that the way out is, one, to build an empowered and engaged electorate. Two, to build and emerge a new class of politicians that are capable, that have competence, and that are ethical. And last, to drive a very strong citizens-led constitutional change and reform of the political and electoral order in the country. These three actions are the things that Fixed Politics has set out to do. The truth is without embarking on such a systemic approach to change, it would be impossible for us to create a nation that the generation unborn would be proud of. That is why any one of you that cares about the future, even the present, would have to join us to fix politics. Welcome again to the public lunch. Thank you very much.